What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Platinum Podcast, where we talk about all things gaming, all things PlayStation, and all things trophies. I'm your host, Lewis, also known as PlatinumBro, and I'm joined by my glorious, handsome as ever co-host, Joel, also known as GuyFarruski. How are you today, Joel?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
Excellent. I am okay, but unfortunately this morning, my dog decided to give me a little chocolate treat on the kitchen floor, and I spent like 10 minutes cleaning that up. So other than that, I'm good as well.
Good morning.
Morning. That's pretty much what he's looked at me just to say, like, yeah, morning. I'll pick that up and let me outside so I can finish off this thing I started. Yeah. So that was my life. And so people will be able to see already that Joel has a different background, and I know we all want to know why. I mean, I know why, but Joel, do you want to give us a little update on your life as to why you're in a bedroom and not in your normal abode?
Well, the move has happened. The much anticipated move. Well, for subscribers and people who chat to me regularly, the move. There's a big move happening. I'm going to be moving to another country, so this is the temporary spot for now, where I'm just squatting in somebody else's house. They don't even know I'm here. I'm going to be a little bit quiet just in case they wake up. They're literally like 2 doors down.
Squatters right.
There's a window right behind the camera that I could just slip out.
Yeah. So, is that why you positioned yourself there, for that glorious natural lighting? Because you have no other lighting at all.
Yeah.
I've already said this, but obviously I appreciate you taking the effort, Joel, to sneak into someone's house and then still have the cojones to turn on to bring your PC, plug it into the wall, turn it on, and then do the podcast.
1 year, man. It's got to be special. You know?
Dedication. You're right, guys. So on that, as you probably be able to tell by the title, the podcast, this is our 25th episode, but not only that, it's our 1 year anniversary. So of the 6th of July last year, 2020, was when we released our first episode of the Platinum Podcast. It's been a while, Joel.
Wow, hasn't it just?
It's flown over. I can't believe it's been a whole year of making this.
I know. I can't say either, to be honest. And then look, how nicely the numbers also connect. That the 1 year anniversary is also episode 25.
I like it. I like it too.
It's not 23 or like an odd 27. It's 25. It's just perfect.
I feel like 25 is like the age of maturity for humans, and I feel like the podcast is hitting its mature part of its life as well. I like to think anyway.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely better than when we first started, that's for sure.
Yeah, we just spoke about how the first episode, and I think what we'll do is we'll talk about a little bit later on about how the podcast came to be, and this episode's just basically about the podcast. There's no trophy topics or anything like that. We're just going to talk about the entity that is the Platinum Podcast and how it came to be, how it came in the form that it is now, and all that good stuff. And it is pretty crazy to think that we've been here for an entire year. I just can't believe it.
Yeah. I can't either. It feels like longer, but at the same time, it feels like not as long. I think we got to that point where we're comfortable doing it now, where it's like a second nature thing, but it also doesn't feel like it's been a year. It feels, I don't know, it's weird. It's weird to explain.
It's weird that, because for those who don't do podcasts, you spend a lot of time talking to somebody. Like me and Joel spent a lot of time talking. And when you actually think about it, I don't really spend that much time speaking to someone, just that one person, about one topic for up to 2 hours at a time. Before I did this podcast, and it's crazy, kind of the rapport you build with somebody when you spend, because we spend a lot of time together, especially during lockdown, when everything went down. I mean, obviously Jersey wasn't as closed, but the UK was properly shut, and I wasn't really speaking to, other than people in my house, which is only one person and my dog. I wasn't really speaking to anybody but Joel, especially in the first 7-8 episodes when it was just me and you. We didn't have any guests or anything.
Yeah,
and we spent so much time together. But I enjoyed it. I loved every minute, buddy.
I did as well, absolutely, and I think it built up our confidence, not only on the podcast, but I think on our channels as well.
Oh yeah,
it helped be more comfortable in front of the camera. I think
I 100% agree with that. It's funny because when I started a new job last year, and there's a lot of public speaking, and it doesn't bother me at all anymore. And I think I've always been okay at public speaking. I mean, obviously you've got to have some sort of confidence about yourself to do YouTube and stuff. But the podcast's live and it's different, and I think doing this with you has actually really made me better at speaking in public and be able to make crack more jokes, be more think on your toes and stuff. And I think it's actually been, not only has it been great for the channel, great for us to meet each other, but also I think it has actually influenced and bettered my life as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Getting all emotional. We've got so much to talk about. Let's put a pin in this, because it's only been me and Joel today. We wanted it to just be us. I try and have guests all the time. But every now and then, me and Joel gotta have a good little chin wag between us, and we'll move on to all that stuff because we've got so much stuff I want to talk about the podcast. We love you, Platinum Podcast. Me and Joel love you for existing. But before that, what games have you been playing, Joel? Have you played anything? I know you've been busy this week.
I've been busy, but just to unwind a bit, just to like clear my head with all the move and all the adult responsibilities that I don't want to have. I've been playing Batman Arkham City, and
Yes.
I didn't think things through. This is one of my backlog games, and I did the whole game, like all the side missions. I did pretty much. I was clearing up like the Riddler trophies, and one of the trophies is you have to do 100% of the game and then do New Game Plus. And I was just looking through, and then just yesterday I started up the game. I just hovered over the New Game Plus, and it says you need to complete the game on normal to unlock this feature. I was playing on easy.
My God.
So I've had to create a whole new file and start from scratch again on normal.
That's horrendous. Did you do like a trophy? Did you look at like a trophy roadmap before you started, or did you just jump straight in?
I jumped straight in because most of the trophies are unlocked from when I first played it like 10 years ago.
All right.
So it was basically just it was only like the few, like the combat ones I needed to do, the challenges I needed to do, and then the New Game Plus I needed to do. And I thought I'll just like rush through it all on easy, so it's fast, and then I can just concentrate on the challenges. And yeah, I can't. You have to do it on normal.
So how far are you now? Have you started again? Are you up to the same point, or?
Oh no, I'm like on about 2 hours in.
Oh, that's so.
Horrible.
Is that the one where you start as Bruce Wayne?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great game. Don't get me wrong. It was great going back into it and playing it again, but just to think I have to redo everything again to 100%, and then I have to redo the story again for the New Game Plus thing.
That's rough, to be fair.
Soul destroying.
I'm not sure I'm a big fan of New Game Plus trophies. I feel like I like a reason to revisit a game, but also sometimes when you're playing like a 30-hour game, do you really want to play it again?
Yeah, it's just that Ghost of Tsushima did it well. They did it as a separate trophy rather than tied to the platinum.
It's still a trophy, bro. I'm still gonna have to do it.
Yeah, that's true. You're tied to that 100% obsession.
Exactly.
I don't have those chains.
No.
I've released myself of the 100% chains. I don't care. I've been platinum. I'm happy.
I put a little community post out recently because I just recently found my my old gamer score, my gamer tag account from Xbox, and I had a little look into it. And it was interesting to see, like, before the completionist really dug its claws into me. There's still a few games I did finish. Looking back, I think what I saw was I did finish Oblivion, 1,000 gamer score, which is like a massive commitment. I loved that game though so much, such a great game. It really hooked me on Elder Scrolls. And it's funny just looking back, like how I just look back going thinking like how I was free before I was just addicted to completing every game that I have. Simpler times.
True. Back then, I never had a backlog because I never needed one.
Yeah,
I used to just get a game, play it,
leave it.
Done. I'm done with it. If I didn't like it, I'm done with it. Nowadays, if I don't like it and it's on my account, I kind of feel like I have to at least get at least 50%.
Yeah. Did you used to sell your games as a kid?
I did, yeah.
Same. I used to just keep them in so much. I wish I kept a lot of them.
I do. I regret it.
So the PS2 games will be worth a fortune now.
Oh,
easily 30, 40, 50 pound. I had so many obscure games. Like, imagine you were similar. Like, I bought like loads of games, and I basically buy a game and I trade it in every week to try and get another one. I just kind of wish I'd kept them because I'd be sitting on a gold mine of PlayStation 2 games at this point.
Well, back in the day, I used to go to the car boots with my mum and dad, and 9 times out of 10, there was always like a massive bundle of games. It was just random ones, and I would just get them for like £2, and I was like, yeah, I'll have that. It's only £2.
Yeah, you can't do that at boot sales now anymore.
No,
because everyone knows PlayStation 2 games are worth a fortune now.
Exactly.
Yeah, you probably pick up FIFA 18 on the PS3 for £1, but not anything more than that. No. When you go on like CEX, I try and find the cheap games. The only games that are ever cheap are like FIFA and DSX, like £2.
The yearly ones.
Yeah, the yearly ones.
Yeah.
Have you been playing anything else this week, or is it just Batman?
Oh, I finished off Tomb Raider with Skunksman. Thank you, Skunksman, because that was a hell of a grind getting to level 60.
MVP
indeed. Huge shout out.
How long did it take?
Altogether,
yeah.
we had to to do it like into segments, so we didn't get like completely burnt out. So every now and then we'd message each other and be like, "You want to do like a couple of sessions today?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, let's do it." And we do three sessions of 20 minutes, which is like an hour, and it was just so boring. All you do is just sit there, you kill each other, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. It was horrible.
That reminds me of Resident Evil 6 grind.
Yeah, but it's done now.
It's done. Has it put you off multiplayer grind? Because Resident Evil 6 did for me. I was just like, never again.
Yeah, I'll definitely be more selective of the games I put on my main account, I think.
Yeah. But anyway, your completion percentage must be getting close to almost 80% now.
It must do now, yeah, because I'm clearing a lot of the games I had back in the day.
Because you did Crisis as well, didn't you?
Yeah, Crisis was okay. Crisis was more of again, like a boosting group that I managed to get together, and it was more like everybody would message, "Oh, I'm available now. Because all the time zones and everything, it's just so hard to get people together. And we get the odd rando in every now and then, but if it's just one, it's fine. So that wasn't too bad. But because Crisis as well, you have different challenges to build up your XP. So it was a bit more interesting. Whilst Tomb Raider was literally just kill each other over and over and over and over again.
But Crisis is an ultra rare platinum, isn't it?
I think so. I didn't actually check.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's like the top 5%, which is always amazing to hear when someone gets an ultra rare platinum.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Well, I'll talk about what I've been playing quickly.
Yeah.
Only Diablo 3. That is one hell of a grind, honestly. Like, I finished Ghost of Tsushima and I haven't touched it since. I'm going to come back to the Legends mode at some point when you're free. I just want to finish Diablo first, and then I'm going to start the New Game Plus after I've played a few more games, because I think I want to wait. And on that, obviously Ghost of Tsushima is getting a director's cut, which I don't know how. I don't know if I'm going to. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. I don't know if I'm going to buy it for PS5. I've just finished it. I don't know if I can just bring myself to play through it another 2 times, even though it is an amazing game. But Diablo is literally just, it's fun with friends, but then it's kind of like the trophy list is just so grindy. It's like, finish the game with, I think you have to do it on the hardest difficulty, which is like on hardcore, where if you die once, you lose your save. But it's not actually hard, it's just time consuming. If you're smart with the game, it's not too difficult. It's actually not difficult at all. I think I'm 7 hours in of a 20-hour story, and I haven't even almost died yet. So as long as you're smart with it, it's okay.
How can you have multiple save files?
I've made a backup. Every time I finish an act, I'm making a backup on the PlayStation cloud, but that's it really.
Yeah.
But it's just a grind. It's just like do that, then it's got to level up every character to level 70, which takes maybe with boosting 5 to 10 hours, and you've got to do 500 bounties. 500! And each bounty takes 5 minutes. So, yeah, it's about 30 hours. God. I'm on about 150 bounties. It's just grind. I mean, I do enjoy the game. I do enjoy it. It's just a bit grindy, but it means at the same time, I've had so much time because it's so like passive, the game. I've had so much time to just smash anime. So I basically, guys, I talk to you guys through this screen. My PlayStation is literally here, so I'm literally just like watching anime. I know some people can't comprehend that you can do things so like do 2 things at once, but I've been watching so much Naruto. Finally finished Naruto. I put it on Twitter. Obviously, Joel's a big Naruto fan. Joel got me on Naruto. 220 episodes, 3 movies. I think I watched 30 episodes of Naruto over the last 2 weeks while playing Diablo. So it's got its pros and cons. I don't mind playing a grindy game. And it's different, like to, for example, boosting, where you're talking to somebody and you're trying to like orchestrate what's going on. But on a simple game like this, where it's not too difficult, you can just simply relax, watch something you've wanted to watch for a while, and play this game, and you kind of feel like you're working towards something while watching something, and it's not too bad, to be fair. So I haven't been having a bad time. I've been having a good time. Naruto is awesome. Everyone should watch it if you haven't already.
Do it.
I was just saying to Joel before we started, I'm gonna take a break before Shippuden. I know a lot of people prefer Shippuden. Joel, you prefer Shippuden.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take a little bit of a break because 200 episodes is quite the toll on someone. That's this year as well. When did we start the FAP podcast, the anime podcast?
That was, I think it was I think we recorded it in April.
Wow.
I don't think I released it till May, but we recorded it in April, I think.
So I've watched 220 episodes of Naruto. I think we started in March then.
Yeah.
In 4 months.
Well done.
God. Who is this guy? Totally.
Well done.
When we made the podcast, I remember there was a massive... So I'm talking about the Joel's anime podcast on this channel at this point. I said to Joel and Steve, I don't want to watch any long anime. I don't have the time. I kept suggesting shorter animes, which is why I suggested Blood of Zeus. And now it's actually come about that I've actually watched probably the most anime out of anybody.
Yeah, you have.
I blame you, Joel.
Well, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Honestly, guys, I never watched anime until I met Joel. And that just shows that's another benefit because I love anime so much. My Hero Academia is got a special place in my heart now. I love it so much. It's like I would never have watched it. Thank you, Joel. I'm talking to the camera, but I'm talking to you.
I know. On that though, I think My Hero Academia is probably gonna be one of the main shonen now because Naruto's over now. Dragon Ball's technically over. I know there's probably another season coming soon, but it's technically over for now. One Piece, well, I don't know about One Piece. Like that it's like a soap. That one keeps going on and on and on. I don't know if that's ever going to end. But Bleach is now over, or there's going to be another season. But that's then going to be like conclusion of Bleach. So I think there's not a lot of like main shonen apart from One Piece and My Hero Academia. So I think My Hero is probably going to be the one that's going to take the shonen, going to carry on the.
And I'm okay with that. Maybe something else will come up. I mean, I'm not versed at all with manga. Is there nothing in the manga that's kind of like blown up in popularity? Are we aware of? Or
Chainsaw Man was a really good manga, and that's going to have an anime adaptation soon, which a lot of people are excited for. I don't usually read manga, but I follow a lot of anime channels, and so I keep up with the news that way. And Chainsaw Man is one that I've seen a trailer, and it looks really good. It looks very gory. I don't think that's a shonen though. No, it's probably like an R-rated anime, that one. I
mean, One Punch Man could. I know it's not shonen either, but it could be the forefront of everything. But obviously, for whatever reason, to take them ages to get it out.
Yeah, it's the time you have to wait for that one.
Yeah, what's taken? It's been out for 6 years, and there's been 2 seasons.
Two good seasons. 2 very, very good.
I haven't watched season 2 yet, but it's been English dub now, so. I'm gonna get into that at some point when it gets released somewhere. Okay, guys. So what I want to do now is I kind of want to put a stop to it before because I want to talk about games we've been playing, but now I want to talk more about the podcast. So our focal point of this podcast, this episode, is just talking about our baby that is the Platinum Podcast. And before, what I did is I released a post about a couple of days ago saying, do you know, it's mine and Joel's 1 year anniversary on the podcast. Do you guys have any thoughts? Do you have any questions you'd like to ask us? Any memorable moments? Any memorable characters? Guests who are on the show? And we're going to go through all the comments, but before we do that, I've got a few things I would like to ask Joel about the podcast. Nothing too complicated. Prepare yourself. Okay, so one. The first question is, how would you describe the podcast to somebody that doesn't know what it is?
What a question to start with.
I know. No prepared, no scripting for this one. I just threw it at them.
I don't know. Like, if it was someone that's into games, I'd probably just tell them exactly what it is. Like, if you like games, you'll like the Platinum Podcast. If you're not a Platinum Trophy hunter, you probably will be after watching a few episodes because it's kind of addictive. For somebody who doesn't play games, I'll just say. I do a podcast with Chris Evans.
Yeah, fair. Well, I have a few friends who, like family who have asked, and who don't play gaming at all, and I literally just say, "Oh, I've just got a podcast where I talk about games." That's all I say. But if it's someone else who knows more, I just tend to say, "I'm like, oh, just what trophies are?" And they're like, "No," I'm like, oh, "Okay, it's just a gaming podcast then." And it's just, "Oh, well, it's a podcast where we kind of talk about trophies," and then everyone's like, "Oh, that's weird," and I'm like, "Yeah." It is weird. Well, weird.
I'd definitely tell them to start watching from like episode 12 onwards. Anything before episode 12 I don't think they come back.
I think episode 1 to 5 are a little bit cringe. I think we'll start to hit our stride at episode 6 or 7. Yeah. I honestly can't bring myself to watch episode 1. People are going to watch episode 1 now.
I do every now and then.
Just for the lols.
It's the long pauses that is the most cringy bit where we're both kind of waiting for each other to say something.
Say something.
Good times.
I think a lot of people have asked this, but let's talk about it. How has it come to be? Because this podcast me and Joel didn't know each other before the podcast.
No, we didn't.
So what happened was I literally I watched a couple of videos. I seen a few people talking about like trophies and stuff, and I thought I'm going to do a podcast. There's not been a podcast like this done. I think we just put it on Instagram, wasn't it? I think saying,
yeah, it was.
I'm a small YouTube creator. Does anyone want to do it? And I think you and like 2 other people messaged me, and then you were up for a chat straight away, whereas other people weren't. And I was like, okay. And then we just hit off quite well, considering we hadn't met. You know, it was a little bit, but we hadn't met each other. So it's always like that when you meet new people.
Yeah.
But we hit off quite well, didn't we? And then I think
we did. Yeah.
after the first couple of podcasts, we did like a podcast every week, and then after 2 or 3 episodes, we started exchanging phone numbers, didn't we? And that's when we started to hit off more and more.
I remember the background was always different in every episode. we could quite find a proper background for the podcast, and the first one was just a plain silver one, I think.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think we stuck with the silver one for a while, for like 3 episodes. Then you made one, which was like a dynamic one, which was pretty good. And then we did the first custom one.
To be fair, just so everyone knows, Joel makes all the podcast backgrounds, all the overlays for every single guest Joel makes, and they're all pretty good. They're all really good, actually. So yeah,
I think the one we have now though is probably the best one so far.
I like it a lot as well.
It's the one that's it's the more refined one, I think.
I agree. So on that as well, then, Joel, how have you found it being this year on the podcast, being a co-host of the Platinum podcast?
It was great. It's definitely it's definitely improved the confidence in everything, really. Like you were saying with public speaking and stuff. I've had a few interviews between starting the podcast and now through Zoom, and it's just night and day. Like before, having an interview with someone I never knew, it'd be like, oh my god, what do I say? And I'd have like the awkwardness of being shy and stuff. And now it's just like it's natural. I felt like I was interviewing them rather than them interviewing me. I was just so at ease throughout the whole thing. And but apart from that, like I've made a friend, which is awesome. I don't have like friends that are that into games as I am. Like they'll play like the odd game and stuff, but not to the point where we do, where we're kind of obsessed about gaming. So it's good to speak to someone who understands the struggles, because you turn around to some random person who doesn't game or doesn't trophy hunt and be like, oh, I just spent 50 hours grinding on this game. They're like, why? They just don't get it. They don't get it. Someone who understands, they don't say why. They say, I feel you, brother.
I do.
Come.
We've had a few texts we've been forming. Especially we had like a little chat between us two and Steve, and that was especially when you're playing Devil May Cry 5. That was just full of you just rage texting for like 3 months straight. Like I can't beat this level.
I have a very I think I need to, going forward now that I'm older, I need to calm down. I have a very short fuse. Doing the AR missions in Batman Arkham City, they're so annoying. Because you have to do like the gliding missions, and they give you like one where you glide all the way down, and then you have to glide up, but you have to go through a tunnel, and they give you like this much space from this is the floor, this is the top of the tunnel, and if you touch anything, you fail, and you have to go from one end to the other of the tunnel. It took me about an hour to get through that.
No,
and
I feel that at all.
It's just things like that. Like I speak to someone who doesn't game about that, and they're like, "Well, just leave it." It's like I can't.
You crazy?
Just leave it.
That's
One
crazy.
does not simply leave a trophy.
No, exactly. It's so true. But anyway, getting back to what you were saying before, it's good to know that. I think it's weird how like it is public speaking because we're talking to each other. We know that there's only so much editing I can do. I do very little editing in these videos, and it's good to hear that it has made you a better speaker. And I think it does. It makes a hell of a difference. Like I haven't had an interview in like 3-4 years now, but I think I know now if I did do one, I would be nowhere near as nervous as I used to be at all. I think it's really great for you speaking. And on that quickly, I just want to say shout out to Vaultboy Steve. I think Steve's had a good influence on the podcast over the past 3-4 months. We speak loads. Obviously we've done the anime podcast with him. He's a co-host on there. Check it out. And thanks, Steve. You're always there to listen to us, to be our sounding board for our ideas and stuff. And you're a legend.
He's the support voice in the shadows. The
puppet master, pulling the strings.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I mentioned before that we're going to talk about some comments people have said. So we'll jump into that now. So as I said, I put a little picture of the post that I actually posted right here. And while you look at that, I'll have a little look at. So the only problem with this sort of stuff is people have such weird usernames on YouTube. And like there's always like numbers and Z's in the middle, and you're like, how do I even say that? So anyway, on that,
prepare for the butchering.
Yeah. Anyway, so Endorf Rush. There's like a 5 and a 1 in there. Has said, great podcast. His favourite episode was with any episode with the Platinums on. The great banter with the 4 of us.
I have to agree with that.
Yeah, Nathan and Dan are hilarious. We're actually trying to get them on again. Next couple episodes, we'll have them on. Yeah, they're hilarious. Their improv abilities are far superior than anyone else I've ever met, to be fair.
Yeah, they click really well together as well. I've said that to them when I think I said it on an episode when they were in. They both their personalities, they just complement each other so well. And they're just comfortable with speaking to us as well. The first episode we thought was going to be the first episode with them. We thought was going to be all over the place because 4 people at the same time, and we were like, "Oh, this is going to be messy," but it wasn't. It was a breeze.
Yeah,
it was just so well coordinated without being coordinated. It was just great, and it's probably why they're the guests that have been on here the most.
Yeah, I think they've been on twice or 3 times. 3 times, I think, maybe.
Yeah, 3 times.
I agree. I remember when we came off the first call, I remember speaking to you or texting you, being like, "That went so well. That was such a fun episode to make. Very entertaining. People got a lot of funny stuff to say. Just good banter. Definitely." All right, next one. Okay, so this one is a bit more generic. It says from Reese's Pieces, classic. Hey PlatinumBro, I just want to say I love your channel, especially your subscriber reviews. I would like how you cover different types of trophy lists, and at some point I hope to submit my own. Everyone loves talking about trophy lists. It's definitely the strongest of my video topics. And Joe, you do them as well. I think it's because it engages people. I think it's because it kind of like invites people, because it could be your trophy list, it might not be, and you get to see what other people are playing. And it's good. I enjoy it because it's kind of like you can see what games people are playing, and it kind of makes me jealous that I haven't played them. Exactly.
I was going to say it's kind of like a friendly rivalry that you have because you see somebody else's list. It's good to have like a rival, somebody that you can compete with. So I think it strives you to do more and gives you that motivation when you're bored and you're thinking, why am I doing this? And then you think, well, because that guy did it. Yeah. And then you go and let's do it.
Do it. Okay, next.
Friendly, all friendly.
Blizzard Smith says, in a nutshell, how would you feel if the trophy systems completely stopped, was removed? I would be a little sad. What would I do? I'd probably move on to Steam, to be honest. I think that would be, for me, it would push me off the console altogether. Mainly, I think I love PlayStation a lot. I'd probably keep it for the exclusives, but I think I'd probably move the majority of my gaming onto PC, to be honest, I think, if they did that.
I'd be pretty depressed. It'd be years felt like wasted. Not wasted because I still enjoyed doing it, but it'd feel like all that effort was just for nothing, really. If it stopped existing, it'd be sad times.
It would be
sad times.
I'll be upset.
It would also be liberating.
It would. That's it. Yeah, exactly. Kind of like, when things end, it gives an opportunity for new things to begin. Yeah. And I think although we'd be sad about it, would survive and would learn new things, and the Platinum podcast would be called something else.
It would. I also don't think I'd have to make way too much money off trophies.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, next one is from Mr. Lightsight, and he just says, the best podcast here on YouTube.
Thank you.
Damn. I find it crazy when people say that. I just don't believe it.
No. It's still very amateurish, I think, compared to to other podcasts that I usually watch. Like, we're just like literally sitting in 2 chairs. Like I see podcast. Well, I'm sitting on the floor.
He's on the floor. Come on.
I see podcasts that they've got like the whole setup, and they've got like 3 different cameras with like different angles, and they have like professional microphones all over, and like their themes. Like, we're just 2 dudes just like literally
chilling,
sitting, and just talking.
But it's really nice.
It is nice.
It's a really big compliment, and I appreciate you saying something like that.
Flattering. Very flattering.
Next, I think it's Yang A115, but there's an X in there. Why?
Yanks.
Who knows? All the guests were absolutely amazing, and of course the host as well. My favourite would probably be Tyler Bayless, aka Batman. I don't know what it was, but he reminded me of Tom Holland a little bit, and I just enjoyed the podcast as a whole. But all the trophies podcasts are very good and help me to strive towards things we all want in life. Platinum trophies. Yes, Tyler Bayless was a character. He loved Batman.
Was a character.
You will probably get Tyler back on again at some point. It's always nice to speak to another Brit. I feel like I found him quite relatable because of his accent and where he was from and stuff. And great sound guy.
I was surprised about how comfortable he was being in front of a camera, because his videos he doesn't show his face.
Yeah.
So I thought he'd be a bit, nervous and whatnot. But straight away he came in with like I'm going to call it this. It's still a Bloodborne background.
Yeah, it was.
No matter what you call it, and just trolling him was fun.
I think he was just drunk the whole time. I think that's how he overcame it. He had about 19 rums on during the podcast.
When he walked out, he went to take like another shot, like half a bottle.
You do you, bro. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing. I mean, we record the podcast sometimes on a night, sometimes on a morning, and it's 9 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock in the morning today, so we're not going to be drinking. Other times we do drink. I mean, Tyler probably just drinks all times of the day. To be fair, wouldn't matter if it was morning or night. But so that's why we're not beveraging up today. I'm just drinking out of my really old, destroyed Spider-Man cup. Look at that.
It's a classic. It could be the Spider-Man mask from Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire.
It could be. It's basically melted from the dishwasher, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so Brian Saurus 09. Much love for the channel. My favourite moments are having only recently discovered the channel. I'm currently working through the backlog of these podcasts. Hold on, that doesn't make sense. It's the hairstyles, he says. The new and old hairstyles always make me laugh. In some of the videos, they're out of control, and then the new ones are neat. That is true. I've went through a lot of hairstyles. So has Joel, to be fair. We're kind of like reversed, because Actually, no, I haven't, because Joel, your hair was like this to start with, wasn't it? It was like an afro for like the first 6 episodes.
I was cosplaying as a microphone, really. I just didn't want to tell anybody.
And then we got like, and then it obviously got heavier and heavier and heavier, and then just boom, man bun. And mine was like behind you, wasn't it? But mine was like just like silky and sweet. I went through a really bad phase of hair. Like,
I think we both did. I think the phase where it was growing, like the afro, when we first started, I think the first episode, the afro was like kind of neat, and then after a while, it was just too big to do anything with, so I just kind of left it. I was just like, I'm not going to do anything with that.
I'm sad that we never got short-haired Farruski on the podcast.
Oh, no.
Yeah, man. So for those who don't know, if you watch Joel's old videos, he's got like a really shaven head, and I'm sad I never got to know you during that time.
Like Jarhead.
Jarhead Farruski.
I cringe.
Well, maybe someday it's come. Are you gonna have the man bun forever, or is it gonna come back?
Oh, I said I agree. I'd cut my hair when I reach 1 million subscribers.
That's fair.
Which will be in about 100 years.
Fair enough. Fair play. I feel a lot more fresh and a lot neater now with my hair like this. It was getting hard, too much to manage, drying it every night and blah blah blah. And now I never towel dry it.
I never do. I just wake up, tie it, and that's it. Done.
Fair. I must just have really greasy hair then. So that's why. Okay, we'll move on to the next comment. So PHGR2103. I'm not saying that one. Podcast has been a lot of fun listening to while trophy hunting in the background, especially during some tedious grinds. Keep going. Congrats on 1 year. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I mean, the point of the podcast all that 1 year ago was to have something you could put on in the background while grinding out trophies, essentially. And I always find I feel like we've obtained our goal when someone messaged me saying, I've just listened to this while playing Red Dead 2 or grinding out a trophy in Diablo or Spider-Man or something. I'm like, yes, thank you. I'm good. I'm glad to know that you had us on while you're grinding out trophies.
100%.
Okay.
This is it now. We could stop the podcast. People just watch this on repeat.
That's true. Just watch this bit. Okay, so Sharpsat1000 says, congrats on the milestone, guys. Here's my question. What's your goal with the podcast and how far would you like to take it?
I mean, I think we've reached the goal. How far? I don't know. I mean, I suppose it's the bigger it gets, the bigger guests we can have.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, when I had Adam McDermott on, which was a great episode, I think that was a bit of an eye-opener for me, because I think I had about 2,000 subscribers, and it was really fun talking to Adam, and I've still spoken to him on and off since then. He said he wants to come on again, but he said, like, you should be approaching people just as big as me, if not bigger, because they'll come on, and that was a bit of an eye-opener, because I think I messaged Lou the XP the day after that, and I was always a bit hesitant to approach bigger channels. I've had a few no's over the time, but I've had plenty of people who are really open about it. And I think you're right. I think the goal would probably be just to have a big guest on, maybe someone with over 100,000 subscribers. Maybe that would be the goal for this year, maybe. And
just see us fanboy the whole episode, where we're just like,
I don't really have any goals. My goal is just to try and do an episode every 2 weeks, because it can be hard. You know, the podcast it's different than every other video I make because it's easy to edit, but it's hard to get going because once it's recorded, all I do is put an overlay on, rewatch it a couple of times to make sure there's no breaks or anything, and it's done. Whereas a lot of videos are the complete opposite of that. But what takes a lot of time is arranging, reaching out to people, sending messages, speaking to them first, going over content, making the plan of what the podcast is going to be, and then getting people on. It's really, really time consuming.
Matching time zones, matching time
when
zones. People are available.
Like when we had Josh on from the Platinum Trophy, that was the time zone thing was an issue that time because we just couldn't. There's only like a 2-hour window during the day, pretty much, where he could do and we could do. So I think generally, my goal would be to keep this going. That's my goal. Keep it going. Keep it going. At least.
I don't think we have like big goal wise. I think we like I said before, we're just two dudes to sit down and just talk about topics. Really, there was never like I don't think there was ever like we want to make this a full-time job where we just do a podcast. Like
exactly.
We're just chatting. It's just I don't know what to say. I don't know what to answer.
We enjoy chatting so much that we made a second podcast.
Nobody else can tolerate us, so we had to do something. To explain to people that we don't just talk to each other because nobody else can tolerate.
That's why we get guests in. That's why we have other people we speak to. Let's bounce this back on the anime podcast because this year, as I've already said, I've discovered a bit of a love for anime because of Joel. We've started a podcast about it. Have you got any goals for that podcast?
It's the same as here, really. I mean, I just like talking about anime. I'll probably do like the odd episode with like the long anime that we can't do on the podcast because it's too time consuming. I'll probably do like chatting about that, but I like talking with you and Steve and special guests as well whenever we do get them in. It's just to see people's perspectives because I found an anime amazing, it doesn't mean it is amazing, and it's good to see other perspectives.
Yeah,
like I used to be very narrow-minded with Naruto, and speaking to you and Steve, it's kind of like opened my eyes to a lot of things that they do wrong. Because when I watched it, I enjoyed it so much. I was just looking at the positives, and looking back now, there's a lot of things that they do wrong. There's a lot of things that they could have done differently that would have worked better. So it's good to see other perspectives, I think, and it's good to see other opinions. And it's just good to chat about things that we love chatting about, I think. The goal for that is, I don't know. I don't really have a goal. It's just to exist. The goal is for it to exist.
To be alive. Yeah. Live in the moment, guys. Live in the moment. No, I think on that though, you do have to have goals, and I think obviously consistency is probably the thing we're both trying to just strive for all the time. I think that's kind of the goal. The long-term goal is to be consistent all the time in the short term. In all aspects of YouTube in our lives. I think that's probably good advice for anybody for anything they want to be good at. So that's the answer, kind of. Okay, next is Rab Jammy, who is actually a new patron. So thanks, bro. He would say he's asked, how would you rate podcasting, YouTubing, and trophy hunting in terms of enjoyment? Has one become more fun or less fun over time? Interesting.
I'd put. It's hard. I'd put podcasting at first, 100%, because it's the most easygoing one for me, and it's the one where you could just like. You could kind of like show your emotions, and if you've had a bad day, you could just chat to someone about it. So the podcast one is the most enjoyable one out of that. Bit therapeutic in a way. Yeah. And then after that, I'd probably say I think YouTube and trophy hunting they go hand in hand. I can't really put one over the other. There's pros and cons to both. They're both time consuming. They're both fun. They can both be very tedious, and they can both be very draining. I think they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure which is harder, trophy hunting or YouTubing, because I think YouTubing provides me probably more enjoyment because it's of like when you get a video out and you're proud of it. It's something. It's not just a platinum trophy. It feels like it's more than a platinum trophy because you're in it and you've got like actual evidence, not just a little badge. You've actually got the video as the end product. So I find it really rewarding, but it's also really hard. And I hit a lot of mental creative blocks all of the time. Like I probably say I write down like 50 ideas and then I just can't quite chime with them, and I've got to like keep going. And whereas like trophy hunting is a little bit it's different like because there's no creativity involved. You just do it. Whereas YouTube's kind of you have to be a creative person, and I think I am a creative person. I think everyone can be creative if you provide yourself the opportunity to be creative. Because I never thought I was until really after university. I thought it was like science-based, sport-based, and I actually think the complete opposite of that now. I think I'm actually a creative person, kind of thinking the wrong thing. But I think they're all really fun. I think podcasting's definitely the easiest to do and the most relaxing to do. I mean, it's different when you're a host, as you know, Joel, as well. It can be a little bit more stressful, especially when you have guests on. I feel really chilled right now. But if there was another guest on, I'd always be a bit like, is everyone gelling okay? Do I need to come in? Do I need to leave it?
Reel people in because they're going off track.
Yeah, exactly. that is hard. I'm getting worse at that as well. I need to be firmer because like some podcasts are going like 2 hours at this point. And, like, I just need to get the fishing rod out and just reeled in. And to be fair, I probably didn't reel this conversation in, but I enjoy them all. I'd probably say podcasting is the most fun, and then I'm probably going to say because I love gaming, I prefer trophy hunting because it's easier, and YouTube is the hardest. But just because something's hard doesn't mean it's not enjoyable. You know,
you make a good point. Trophy hunting is probably easier to do than YouTubing because trophy hunting you just have to do what is required, whilst YouTube you have to kind of figure it out yourself of what you want to do. You have to basically do the whole process. You don't really have a requirement, so to speak.
Exactly. We'll move on to our next part. Our next comment is from the Fear, and he just says Peanut Bro ? And that's because I refer to myself as Peanut Bro. And people might be wondering why that is. And I just think, firstly, it's funny. It's basically because PlatinumBro is shortened to PB. I was like, peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter. And I was like, you know what? My alias. So Lewis is my name. My alias is PlatinumBro and Peanut Bro. PlatinumBro is the official name. But every now and then I'll just slide in a bit of Peanut Bro because I love peanut butter, and yeah.
I like Peanut Bro. I think Peanut Bro is a more friendly approach. PlatinumBro is like the the side of you. Whilst Peanut Bro is like it's the family man.
Exactly.
It's like, come on, give me a hug.
Exactly. It's like Peanut Bro is like my fat margin boo.
Yeah, exactly. That's such a good way to put it. I'm so proud of you for using an anime reference.
Okay. Next one is from RZR Complex. Favorite guest again, Platchums. And you guys mixed really well. Yeah, I agree. We've got a really good rapport going with them too. They're just really easy to talk to, and I think it's because we're all the same age and we all have the same experiences. Yeah, you know, Dan's played a lot of really, really weird PlayStation 1 games that we all hadn't heard of, but generally we're all around the same age, got similar hobbies. It just mingles really well. You guys are awesome. So our next comment is from Michael, PlayStation 3 Gamer Scotland, who was also a guest on our podcast very early days. He said, what was your favourite episode of the podcast and why? Congrats on 25 episodes. Thanks, Michael. Great question.
Very hard question as well.
It's
25 episodes.
We've had a lot of amazing guests. So many people have been so much fun to talk to. You know, we've had like Ludi XP, we've had Adam McDermott, obviously we've had Platchums, we've had so many guests. Tyler Bayliss, Michael from PS3 Games Scotland. We've had Motson on. I think we've had about at least half of our episodes have had a guest, and it's. I think in terms of actual progression, my favorite episode was Adam because he had a lot of insights to give me. A lot of it, he made me realize that the podcast is actually good, and people like watching it, and like him saying it meant a lot. But also, you know what? As well, Josh from the Platinum Trophy is someone who me and Joel have become quite good friends with just through YouTube.
100%.
And that was a good episode. I think Josh, we had some good conversations about trophy hunting on that episode. So I got something right in my eye. Whoa. So I had I'm not getting emotional. I just had something in my eye like this.
Of course.
And yeah, we made a really good friendship with Josh through the past couple of months through him reaching out to us and just giving advice and stuff like early on, and then
just helping out for no reason whatsoever. Really, he's just to genuinely to help us out and just be like, look, here's some advice.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we've had him on the Farruski podcast, which hasn't aired yet. Joel will get it edited at some point because that was a really great episode where we talk about My Hero Academia. Josh is hilarious. If you watch it, you should watch his podcast as well. He's really funny. It's hard to say. I mean, obviously as well. I think I can't say. I think in terms of the podcast, I think Adam was the best because it got the most views and it helped me build up my confidence on the channel and realise that I can approach bigger fans. But in terms of my own enjoyment, I can't say. I can't have favourites, I don't think.
I wouldn't say a favourite because I enjoyed doing them all. but I think maybe this one will be, just because we're looking back on. Like I'm one of those people that I like looking back on how far you've come when you start something to a point where you're comfortable doing it, and it's a massive difference from then to now. And I think it's, I don't know, it's just humbling. It's just
Do you know, like on Friends in The Office, when they're like after like 3 or 4 seasons, they do like a flashback episode where they only use flashbacks.
Yeah,
that's kind of what this episode is now.
Yeah,
at the point where we can look back.
We can, yeah.
Yeah, me and Joe, we always have good conversations, just me and you. And sometimes it's when we don't have guests, it allows us to talk to each other more.
Yeah.
I think that episode we did when we did the games that we thought were 10 out of 10, where we just reminisced about games that we loved. Like, there's so much passion in that video. And I think we hadn't done a video, just us, in about 2 months at that point.
A good while.
It was because, you know, I have lots of guests lined up all the time, guys. I've got a couple lined up now. And it's just, sometimes you haven't got time to get everybody on. And sometimes you find, like, in the podcast, just from the podcast perspective, like, you want to get new guests on, but then you also want to get guests that have done really well back on, but then also you want to do guests just us, and it's just trying to fit it all in. But I think, this maybe could be, Joel. You're right. Maybe this could be.
It's just looking back. I think it's a beautiful thing to see how far we've come and how much this has flourished, and it's also great to see that you guys actually enjoy watching the podcast. So,
it's crazy.
Because without you guys watching, there would be no point in doing it, really.
Very true. And I think as well, the podcast has really started to hit its stride the past maybe 3 months. Like, the first episodes were getting like 200 episodes of views a week, and now they're getting like, 2,000 to 3,000, which is amazing, and it's just it feels really good to know people actually care. And when you read these comments saying that it's the best podcast on YouTube, obviously we don't think that, and maybe the person doesn't think that, they're just trying to be nice, but it's really nice to hear. Next question anyway. Next person says, it's Wandering Slacker, says, congrats on 1 year and 25 episodes, guys. My favourite episode was Adam McDermott. But I love him so much. And that's fair. I mean, Adam is a character. He's a very wise person. He's got lots to say about gaming, lots to say about content creation. He's a very artistic person in terms of the content he creates. He actually inspired a lot of my videos, to be honest. Like, just his style, the way he speaks. He's been an inspiration.
He's very he's like he is in his videos. Like, he seems like someone who's really easy to talk to. He's exactly like that when you speak to him, and I think that was the biggest surprise for me when he did come on, and when we spoke to him after the podcast was over, is that he's just so down to earth. He's just such a nice, genuine person.
Yeah, I think sometimes we'll end up like. Sometimes we'll leave and we'll, for whatever reason, time restraints, we'll just end the episode. Like, once the episode ends, we'll not speak to people after. But like, with Adam, I think we ended the podcast about an hour and 20, and we end up on the phone to him for another hour, just talking about gaming and YouTube and just everything we have in common. He's just so chill, very chill guy. He is. Yeah. Okay, next comment is exactly the same from Zach McAdam, saying, love the podcast, definitely Adam McD on again. Hopefully at some point we get him and Lucy on the same podcast. I'm feeling that that's positive. Obviously, I was on Lucy XP, Lucy's locking it down with Lucy live a couple of weeks ago, which was loads of fun. I get on really well with Lucy, so I'm sure I can bend one of their arms to coming on together at some point. Okay, next is the Trophy Platypus. Great name.
That's a great.
He's actually been on quite a few comments on quite a few videos. I think he's in the Discord as well, because I recognise the name. Congrats, dude. Respect the hustle. Podcast has been great to watch. Thank you very much, dude. We appreciate it. Okay, next one. USuper420. Would be great if you could get into live streaming so you can interact with your fans, or perhaps a video idea for the near future. Keep cheers and keep getting on those plats. Well, Joe used to live stream. Why don't you tell us why it's so hard?
It's not what you expect at all. Like, it's I've spoken about this in a video, and it's a lot of people get into live streaming they start live streaming rather than YouTube because they think it's easier. All you have to do is go on, you play games and you talk, and it's not. There's a very big difference between just streaming and being a good streamer. If you want to be a good streamer, you have to keep that energy up, and the whole time you're live, you have to keep the energy up, even if it's just an hour. Even if it's just hard because live streaming, you're there, you can't take breaks, or if you do take breaks, people can see everything that you do, no matter what you do, right, wrong. People will see it there live. You can't change it, can't edit it out. And just that on the back of your mind all the time, it keeps you on edge all the time. And it's very draining.
I am going to live stream at some point. So just to clarify, yes, I do want to do it. I'm thinking maybe once a month at some point in the near future. It's just fitting it in. But I think it's different to... I think Twitch, it's an even lower barrier to entry than YouTube. So people jump in thinking it's easy, but it's probably just as hard. I haven't done it. I was going to say, is it harder?
I'd say it's harder.
It might be harder, but it's definitely as hard. You put just as much time in, but different kind of time. Like I might spend 4 hours making a video, 3 to 4 days a week, whereas they spend 4 hours just streaming 3 to 4 times a week. It's different and high energy all the time.
It also affects your mental health a lot. So let's say like the negatives, for example, on YouTube, you have your high energy, you record, you edit, you post it. You only get 20 views after you post it. The work's already been done. Yes, it's depressing, but the work's already been done. When you're live streaming and you see your numbers drop as you're live streaming, just keep in mind you still have to keep that energy up, whether you're got 1 viewer, 20 viewers, 100 viewers. It doesn't matter. You always have to keep that energy up. And it's hard when you see the numbers go down live.
Yeah. You know what I will say? I'm not sure if you'll agree with this or not. It might be controversial. But I feel like Twitch is for characters and YouTube's for creatives. Because YouTube, you have to be creative and make ideas that are different and make videos and edit them. Whereas Twitch it's more about you as a person. It's about your personality and it's about you bringing people in and keeping people in. Whereas it's different with YouTube because there's not as much of that, and there's no like editing in Twitch.
I can agree with that to a certain extent. I think it's easier to start Twitch if you've done YouTube rather than the other way around.
Right.
I think being comfortable recording videos eases you into being comfortable live streaming rather than the other way around. I think live streaming first, you learn as you go along, whilst if you still learn as you go along if you've done YouTube, but it's easier to adapt because you're already used to talking to a camera. It's just instead of doing it in takes or instead of doing it in sections, you're doing it continuously. But I still think streaming is harder. Yeah. Mentally harder than YouTube.
Especially full time, definitely. It's a side project, maybe different. We'll move on because we've got another 10 comments to get through at this point, and we're only almost on an hour. So, Slimmy Jimmy said, "Congrats." To be honest, the only thing I would like is to see weekly episodes, which I understand is probably impossible. Yeah, I would like to do weekly episodes. Maybe if this was a full-time gig for both of us, we probably would do weekly episodes. But it's challenging to fit it in because firstly, it takes 2 hours to record, 3 hours to record, 2 hours to plan, and then 2 hours to edit. It's almost an entire day of like working to do. And if I did it every week, I literally just couldn't do other videos. And I think the podcast is part of my channel. It's not the channel. And I think if I did it every week, it would become the channel. And I think not everyone watches long-form content. Not everyone likes it. It's totally fair. Like, I only watch certain long-form content. And I think you need to have that mixture on your channel to keep bringing in different people. So, never say never, dude. If me and Joel, start making like enough money to support ourselves on YouTube, which is,
very,
probably unlikely.
Very, very far-fetched.
It could happen. But if that was the case, I'd probably be doing 5 to 6 videos a week anyway. But maybe someday, but definitely not it's not in the 18-month to 2-year plan, I don't think.
Yeah.
Okay, next question is from someone who's a YouTuber as well. Good, new up-and-coming trophy hunter, but I always get his name wrong. Is Ilya Kunin. And he says, honestly, it's pretty amazing. And what is pretty cool that you can see the structure and the confidence starting to form over the lifespan of the podcast. Pretty inspiring. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And basically, hold on, there's more of this comment. I have to extend it. And all the guests you really enjoyed: Adam, Lucy, Platchums, Volboy Steve, Missing Collectible, Tyler. Those are the ones that just came to mind. Yes, they're all awesome. We had so much fun with Will and Peter last episode.
Yeah,
honestly, we did. Absolute maniacs, a pair of them.
Yeah.
Especially Will. God, that guy needs to calm down. It was a lot of fun. Again, it's the thing, guys. You have episodes with people that you think, I want to have you on the podcast again. And it's kind of like, but I also need to bring in new guests because definitely Missing Collectibles are definitely going to be back.
Yeah.
And all those guests, all of them who have been mentioned are going to be back on. Adam, Lucy, Platchums, Voltboy Steve, Mr. Collectible, Tyler, they're all going to be back on because they're all so much fun to talk to.
I don't think we've had a bad guest, and it's not
No.
to be nice or anything. And I know like I shouldn't really say if there was one, but genuinely we've not had a bad guest on the podcast.
No.
We've gotten on with them great, and we've all seemed to click as well with so many different personalities.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's always worked.
I agree. Also, just to clarify, we haven't mentioned Zedai. So Elvis from Zedai, he was fun as well.
Yeah, he was.
So I think we've mentioned every guest, haven't we, in the podcast so far? I want to check to make sure that we haven't left anybody out.
So it's Platchums, Platinum Trophy, Ludi XP, Adam McDermott,
Michael from PS3 Gaming Scotland from the early days.
PS3 Gaming Scotland, Mortal Paralight.
Mortal Paralight, that's it. There we go.
Yay.
Mortal Paralight, there we go. She was great fun as well.
She was.
Hardcore Tough Hitter on Twitch if you want to go watch her. She's in some impressive platinums all of the time. I always see her on Instagram. I'm like, damn girl.
I used to have her as like my rival, and then I kind of gave up
because she just excelled you greatly.
Yeah, it's just too much.
It's just that's fair. Who else do we have? I'm looking now. I think that's most of them.
Yeah, Tyler Bayliss.
Yeah, and Josh, of course, from Platinum Trophy, but we've already mentioned him.
Yeah.
Okay, next question is from Ludi XP, and she says, "Congrats, guys! Keep up the great work." Thank you, Lucy. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Go check her channel out if you haven't already. But you probably know who she is if you watch this stuff.
Yeah.
And we then got Terrence who says, "Love the podcast. You and Joel are great, and I also love the podcast that features the Platchums, Dan and Nate." There's definitely a theme here. People like Platchums more than they like us, I think.
I know.
They have their own YouTube channel. Most of you should know. But just in case you didn't know that.
where most of the videos is like a podcast, really.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
it is just them two chatting. And I've asked them like 10 times to let me on Platchums, on the Plat chats, and they're like, yeah, you can come to Plat chats whenever, and they just never ever invite me.
Yeah.
I've asked them like 3 times, now it's just getting embarrassing. I can't ask them again. I'm like, oh yeah guys, I'd love to come to Plat chats. Yeah, no problem. And then it's like nothing for weeks. And then I'm having a podcast and I'm like, yeah, Plat chats. And I'm like, yeah, it's sorted out. Just
we've got a date. We've got a date. What is the date?
No reply. Block. God damn. Okay, next is from More UFR. It says, "Love the podcast, lads. I'd say the best guests are Platchums and Steve because you feel the friendship vibes. I love the episode with Steve because it was a relaxed late night and the boys just having a chilling chat and I could listen to it for hours." Yeah. You know, that episode took us 5 hours to make, didn't it? So
it did.
We think we started about 6:30 and we didn't finish till midnight. I think we did the podcast from like 7:30 till 9 and we're just on the call for hours.
And
just shooting the shit.
If you notice that episode, it's the one where we go to the most tangents.
Oh yeah.
Like, we go so off topic, and it's because we're just used to talk. Because obviously he's the co-host in FAP as well. So
yeah, it was definitely the most chilled podcast we've had.
I think so.
With a guest anyway, and you had a real. That's basically where the action of me doing this came in, because it was just unbearable. I needed like 20 fishing rods at that point because it was just going everywhere.
It was.
It was Okay, so Shellshock Trophy says, "How did you meet? One English and one Portuguese guy." And then he then spells a load of Portuguese, which I can't read.
I'll have to see that one. It's in the community post, isn't it?
It is.
How did we? Basically translates to, can we hear Joel speaking Portuguese, or maybe Lewis speaking Portuguese?
Oh, is that what it says?
Yeah.
Go on, Joel, say something Portuguese.
It's embarrassing. It's not embarrassing, it's awkward.
Why don't you just say?
You're not going to understand a word.
Just say something like, "Trophies are really fun. I like playing them."
Trophies are really fun. I like playing them. This is so awkward.
Do it.
Trophies are really fun, and I like playing them.
Oh.
No. That's why I'm asking. Like,
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Troféus. I've had a brain block. Like, switching languages is hard.
When did you last speak Portuguese?
Like yesterday. My parents were over.
Is it different in free flowing though? Can you just come faster?
Because I'm translating. So if I can. Acho que ainda bem que eu te conheci. Fazer isto contigo é uma das melhores coisas que eu faço.
Bravo.
Basically, what I said is, I'm glad I met you, because doing this is one of the funnest things that I do.
Oh,
it's a lot easier to free flow rather than translate, because you have to think of these specific words. Nice. And like translating some Portuguese words translated to English is just, it's not right. There's just some words that English people have that Portuguese don't, and vice versa.
Okay. There you go.
Something for you to say now. What do you want to say in Portuguese?
No, I
Something.
have no idea.
I have no idea. Não faço ideia. There you
No
go.
faço ideia.
Não faço ideia.
No faço idea.
There you go.
Yes. Yeah. I only speak English, unfortunately. I always want to learn a second language, but I don't know if it's too late now.
It's not too late, but Portuguese is it's one of the hardest ones out there.
Oh, really? Is it harder than Spanish?
Yeah. Our grammar is ridiculous. I don't even understand our grammar. We have like a word like hello, and then you have past and present, but then you have perfect present, perfect future, more than perfect present, more than perfect future, more than perfect past, more than
That sounds really
school is a struggle.
School is hard.
Primary, yeah.
All right, we'll move on to the next question. Dedios, I'm an idiot. I can basically just not pronounce things. Says, "Let's go. Never stop grinding. One day more people will know you." Well, I hope so. Thank you, buddy. Next is Wooly, one of our trophy hunters from the Discord. Said, "Congrats on your 1-year bromance." It definitely is. When Joel is moved and restrictions allow it, will we get a podcast with you both in the same room? Yes, is the answer to that.
100%.
Definitely. Joel's moving to only 3 hours away from me. I've actually worked it out that it's actually 3 hours straight to Joel, or it's only like 3 hours and 20 minutes to pick Steve up on the way.
Oh.
Yeah. Just saying.
There we go.
So it's like a 20-minute detour to get Vault by Steve, so, it could happen. Yeah. But definitely at some point when things really become a lot less strict, and Joel gets settled, down. Yeah, we're definitely going to do something. So there's your answer to that one. Next one is Adil says, "Dope podcast found out so many new YouTubers and personalities. Everyone is unique." Yes, they are. It's great. That's why I like it. It gives other people spotlights and other people the opportunity to introduce themselves and over some new viewers. And I think it's but we get to meet new people as well and meet new content creators and get ideas. I've had loads of ideas from people from the podcast, like just speaking to them, picking their brains. Not just the big YouTubers like Adam and Lucy, also a lot of the smaller ones have given me some great ideas as well.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting towards the end. There's only about 5-6 left. Okay, Eternal Blessing. All the guests have been incredible on the podcast, though Platinums always stand out as top class chaps. They do. One of my favourite moments was when Dan blew up the voice chat when he dropped the mic with Dirge of Cerberus. Do you remember that?
Yeah, where we were like,
What?
So
it's a Final Fantasy PlayStation 1 spin-off, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very retro.
Yeah.
I think it was when it's when a lot of developers tried replicating the Final Fantasy fame, and they always kind of fell short, or they always became obscured because nobody knew the name, as it was proven like he was the only person who ever knew that game existed.
So confused when he was talking about it. He actually got the game out.
Yeah, he did.
And it was like the most immaculate PlayStation 1 game I've ever seen. It was so well cleaned. And you're thinking like, dude, do you polish these games? Because like my desk is dirtier than that game. My face is dirtier than that game. So anyway, guys, Platinums always stand out as top quality blokes, and that's because they are. Okay, we've got a couple more questions left. So, actually just comments, because some of them are just statements. So Cobro says, "I'd like to thank you and Joel for these awesome podcasts. Really fun to listen to when I need to do those boring grinds for Platinums."
I want to thank you for watching and choosing this podcast to help you with the grind. I think it's a two-way road.
It is, definitely.
Two-way relationship.
We help you, you help us. Symbiotic is our relationship with all our viewers. We need each other. Well, actually, we need you considerably more than you need us. We are the symbiote.
100%. Yeah.
We are like Venom, and you are like Peter Parker, and we're like just on you, telling you things, like promising you that we're going to make you better. But the reality is, are we?
We're just sucking the life out of you.
Yeah, really. Pretty much destroying your soul. Okay, next one is a name I can't pronounce. Raven J. There's loads of numbers in there. Congrats, dude. My only question is, Joel, have you platinumed Devil May Cry 5 yet?
No, I haven't. Actually, I have in my other account, which is not being revealed. No, I haven't. There's been a lot going on. I think if this move didn't happen, I probably would have had more time.
Yeah.
And with the games I choose to play, I prefer something less stressful. I think the move and getting everything sorted, I think is stressful enough than having like another stress on top. I could imagine myself like having PTSD, just remembering the last day playing Devil May Cry and somebody coming in, "Oh, we can't clean this today." "What do you mean you can't clean this today?" You know, it's probably not the best
Do
thing.
you think you've de-skilled since you haven't played it for a while or not?
I think so. I think I'll have to get used to the game again, especially since I've been playing so many different games from the PS3 era, so many different controls. I think I'll have to relearn.
I read a video. I read a video. No, I didn't.
Did you?
Ah, God. I listened to a video recently where someone's compared Dark Souls to Devil May Cry. And they said the difference between Dark Souls is why Dark Souls shouldn't have an easy mode is because it's doable. Basically, you get good and the game doesn't limit you. You don't need to have amazing reactions to be good at Dark Souls. You just need to get good at the game, understand the game. Whereas Devil May Cry, you have to understand the game and be good at the game, but also it heavily relies on your reaction times as well. And it's not just you can get good and beat this game. You can get good, but you have to make sure it's within your skill limit as well. Obviously, I think it is in your skill limit, Joel. You finished almost half the game. But it just reinforces the fact that Devil May Cry 5 is one of the hardest games on PS4.
I think so.
Yeah.
And PS5 version is even harder, from what I've heard. So,
definitely.
Well done to everybody who has had that platinum, by the way.
All 12 of you.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody who's watching this... Well, I know one person who's True Inside Reviewed who watches this has Platinum Devil May Cry 5, but I can't imagine there being more than 5 people who watch this who have Platinum Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah, it's a hell of a commitment for sure. It's time consuming. I think you need breaks in between. I do. I'm saying I think you need because I want everybody to think.
Never do
it's
it.
Really hard. Yeah.
Okay, we've got 2 comments left. One is a question from Tibby Costi. How you doing, Tibby? Hope you're doing well. Guys, best luck on your future endeavours. The only question I have for you is how hard was it? How difficult was it for you two to hit the first record button?
I don't think it was. I think when you put that post out, it was to have a goal, and when I replied to it, I knew what the goal was, which was to create something.
I was nervous.
A podcast.
I'm gonna turn this light on. That's better. I'm gonna be totally honest. I was nervous. When I put the post out when I made the first episode, like. It's quite nerve-wracking, I think. To be fair, Joel, you were quite nervous when you did your first FAP podcast. Bear in mind that we'd already done about 15 episodes of the podcast. Yeah. It can be quite a nerve-wracking thing. I think you just gotta go for it. Honestly, just if there's something you're scared of starting in your life, just go for it. The time will never ever be right. The time is now. It's always now. And like me and Joel did it during the pandemic. Is when we started. I was like. I wasn't speaking to that many people. I wasn't in the best mental state, to be honest, because I was okay, but I wasn't seeing my friends. I couldn't exercise, and exercise is a big thing for me. And I literally had to buy an exercise bike and just exercise in the garage, and it wasn't very fun at all. I definitely, and I think then you could say that, you had more free time in the evenings, so there was always pros and cons. There was time to do it because I had all this free time in the evening, but I wasn't feeling the most energetic. I wasn't feeling the most myself because of what was going on in the world, which was out of my control. Yeah. And I think just... The message is just if you're not sure about something, just do it. Joel, how long have you been? You're moving over to the UK now. It's only been 3-4 months, and you're doing it. Like a biggest change in your life, and you just went for it.
Yeah, it was something that had to be done. I think it was a big decision for sure. Again, it wasn't only my decision. Obviously, my wife had to agree with it as well. But having support from people, I think, is important. I think having somebody that can support you when you're doing something like that. Being a host is a complete different ballpark than being a guest. 100%. When I was doing when I did the first episode of Platinum Podcast, I was a bit nervous. I didn't know Lewis. We only spoke once for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have been half as bad as being the host. Like Lewis said, the first FAP episode, I've known Steve well, spoke to him loads of times. Same with Lewis, and I think within the first 10 seconds, I messed up about 4 times.
You do.
You just do it, and the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get. Like anything in life, anything,
I agree. I make loads of mistakes on these podcasts because I'm live, and I'm quite stutterer, and I speak really fast, and I try and slow down when I can. But I think people don't notice your mistakes as much as you do. I think, you'll notice a few stutters and errors. It's live conversation. I just did it there. That's how it works. But sometimes you'll make things for example, me reading some of these comments. Some of them just don't read right. So I'm trying to read them and also not sound like an idiot, which is really difficult. But don't focus on your mistakes. And I'll just say it's really easy for someone to say, "Oh, don't care what people think, just do it." And I'm not going to say that because I think it's really hard not to care what people think. But what I would say is just don't tell people. If you want to do something and you don't want people to look down on you, just don't tell them. Yeah. And if you think, I couldn't do this because people at work would judge me, people in my family would judge me, my advice would be just don't tell them. Just do something for you, and if it makes you feel good, then go for it. And on that, we'll move on to our last question, which is a short one. Hello, 123. Hello.
Hello.
I would love to see your podcast transformed onto other platforms such as Spotify. It would make it so much easier to listen to. Anyway, great show. Keep it up. We've thought about Spotify or Apple podcasts quite a few times. I have thought about it. We haven't really discussed it, me and you, Joel. But I think that there's a few things holding me back. I think the first 5 episodes I don't think are that good because me and Joel are a bit nervous, and I don't want those to be the first episodes on Spotify. So kind of like it will be on, and if I don't include them, the numbers will be wrong. So we'll have to include them. That's kind of put me off a little bit. Maybe it's just me being a bit over critical. But also as well, I think I like them being on YouTube because it keeps all my content on one space. And it gets quite a lot of views as well, and I'm a bit concerned that if I moved it to Spotify I'd lose like 10, 20, 30% of the views. But maybe it would gain, maybe I'm just being a bit skeptical.
I think for audio only we'd have to maybe change the format a bit, because there's a lot of body language that we do in these podcasts. Whether you see it or not when you're watching or listening. Me and Lewis tend to have a lot of body language because we know we're on camera. And sometimes the body language makes up for a bit of the silence. Whilst if we do this format on Spotify, you're going to have a lot of maybe some pauses, which might put people off. So it'd be a different ballpark, I think, recording for Spotify, because it would have to be a continuous thing. It would have to be, I think it would have to be a lot more structured, maybe a lot more scripted as well. So there isn't those pauses. I think it's a bit more natural on YouTube, but I mean, Lewis, if you ever want to do a Spotify or happy days, I mean, I'm happy to. To
be honest, at the minute, it's not on my 2021 plan. Definitely not. Things like I said, I enjoy watching podcasts. So the only podcasts I really listen to now are on YouTube because I like seeing the animation. I think it's even if I'm like walking with it in my pocket, I'll have a YouTube on. And I'll just I might get out every couple minutes and just look at it because it's good to see the people interacting with each other. And I think seeing someone's face makes you more engaged. I think.
I agree. Yeah. And
so who knows, buddy? But not in the short term, maybe long term, but not right now. And that's it, Joel. It's all our questions. Thank you very much for just commenting on that post. It's made us reminisce a lot, talk about our previous guests. Like I said, this is our like reminiscing episode, our flashback episode.
Yeah, it is.
Any final thoughts, Joel?
Yeah, I mean, thank you all for watching. And again, like if it wasn't for you guys watching, this probably wouldn't continue. So
yeah, it's been a great ride. I feel like it's been a great ride. Like talking like it's going to end. It's not going to end. Maybe we'll do something similar in episode 50 for 2 years anniversary. Who knows? I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, I can see this podcast going to episode 50 at least, and it might change. It might evolve over time, and we'll just see what happens. But Joe probably won't have that bed next episode in a couple of weeks' time. 2 or 3 weeks. I'm not sure what we're going to do in terms of structure, but the goals again are just to try and keep this going as long as we can, keep the wheels in motion. At least, I'm striving for twice a month. Some months might be a little bit less, but as long as we can get like 20 episodes out in the next year, from now to next year, that would probably be my goal. That's just covers a few breaks here and there. And we've got loads to talk about, Joe. We never run out of things to say, do we? There's always enough stuff going on. We always say like, we have a meeting before we start, and I'm like, Joel, what do you want to talk about going on in the world? And he's like, we should talk about Ghost of Tsushima DLC. And I was like, we can do. But it ends up being that we talk so much that we end up never talking about what's going on in the world. And I think that's actually for the better, because I think when you talk about news stuff in a news cycle, the video's only relevant for a week, whereas these videos last longer because people who are watching this in 6 months' time, if you're watching this in 2022, welcome. Thank you for watching. I hope this isn't the first episode because we're reminiscing about the past. Yeah. And clearly people love Platinum, so I feel like Joel, we're definitely got to get them two on again.
We do.
I want to do like more than 4, but I think 4 people, when you watch them, you realise the podcast ends up being at least an hour and a half, closer to 2 hours, with 5 or 6. Either it's going to be 3 hours or nobody gets to speak. So that's kind of the problem with that one.
Yeah, it'll start being a bit limiting because you have to maybe have time cues, like you'd have a timer for how long you can talk. And I think that takes a bit of the magic away of, freely talking about something.
Very true.
I
think we'll wrap things up. It's been 25 episodes, 1 year anniversary for the Platinum podcast. Wow. Here's to many more, ching ching ching, many more.
I haven't got a drink.
That's fine.
Ching.
Ching. Yes. Yes, too many more. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Just me and Joel just shooting the shit, just chatting about how it's been, talking to you guys, answering your comments. Thank you for putting them in. It's been nice to hear the compliments, nice to hear what you've enjoyed about the podcast. It's been a really fun, heartwarming episode for me, Joel.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
And on that, guys, thank you very much for watching the Platinum Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.
Bye-bye.